Hello and welcome to the Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Nope, my name is Mike P. Raworski. I will be your co-host from today. I am from the East Coast. That makes me the co-host with the most, from the coast with the most, here on the Rundown, where we promise you 2A views and conservative news. Craig, how was your Monday Gun Day?
Well, my Monday Gun Day was going actually quite well until we started to go live with the program. And then all of a sudden, the technology, gods decided that they wanted to mess with me. But we are here now.
I think that's the ATF Gremlins. I think that's what that is.
The ATF, you mean the AFT Gremlins?
AFT? 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 I'm going to get that hat, AFT. AFT. I'm going to get a raid jacket that says AFT and just wear them. Are you with the AFT?
Excellent stuff.
Yes,
That is
I am.
excellent stuff. How was your weekend, sir?
Oh, listen, good stuff. Good stuff. Like I told you, I got to get to the country's biggest or second biggest air show this weekend, and had a blast over in Lakeland, Florida. So it was good stuff. Good people, good friends. A lot of crossover there, Craig. A lot of crossover in the flying aviation community and the Second Amendment community.
Excellent. Well, that is actually very, very good to hear. And unfortunately, too many of them are not allowed to have their means of self-defense with them when they fly, but or when they're flying others. But hey,
correct.
When you do get
very
an opportunity
true.
to join the two, it's good.
Very true. But good times, good food, good air show, good products to be bought. So good stuff. Had a great time. So thank you for asking. How was your weekend?
It was phenomenal. Pretty much did yard work most of the weekend.
Phenomenal yard work.
Had a lot of relaxing time. Admittedly, I had a bit of an accident. It was I was putting up some new shelves because I needed to make some more room for my for my bourbon collection. Anyway, one of my shelves came down and it cost me a bottle or two.
A bottle of gin?
No, a bottle or two.
Oh, a bottle. Ooh, what? How were you trying to use to anchor it?
Oh, well, therein lies was the problem. It wasn't it wasn't the new shelf that was the problem. It was one of the older shelves I had not properly anchored.
And when you started tapping the wall for the new shelf, broke loose the old shelf. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I spent most of the weekend kind of reinforcing old shelves.
See all that stuff behind me there?
Yeah.
When I put those up, that's drywall over plywood attached to the beams. So yeah. So. I wasn't going to have that. Wasn't going to have that.
Evidently, I did not do a very good job with my stud finder. Yep. So
this is a California earthquake proof right here.
There you go. Yeah. See, I should have brought my wife in to find the studs because she found a stud on her first try.
Yeah, but it hasn't worked right in 30 years.
Oh, you're not funny. Not funny at all. Not funny at all.
Yeah. We try sometimes.
Hey, folks, do us a favor. If you're watching us, however you're watching us, please make sure right now, at this moment, right now, please make sure, share it. Share it on Facebook, share it on MeWe, share it on Rumble. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on Rumble, if you're watching us on OpsLens or on Spotify, if you're listening to us via wherever you get your podcast, please make sure you share. That's vitally important. Wait, we want folks to know this is the place to be, right? This is the spot, right, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. So we know that, you can find conservative views just about anywhere. You can find 2A news just about anywhere, but this is the place where you find them both.
What you won't find here is gun community news because it doesn't exist. It's not real.
Fake news? Fake news.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
He's like, I'm not going to say anything. All right, Mike, let's talk about the first story of the day. And this is something that we knew it was happening, but it actually just recently came across. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to keep you guys apprised of what's going on with the Biden administration and their misinformation campaign when it comes to firearms. Well, what they are doing now is they are launching a new rules relating to quote unquote ghost guns, which are in essence firearms without serial numbers, which by the way are not dissimilar from firearms that have the serial numbers removed. But anyway, but really what they're going after are home-built firearms, is the ability to make home-built firearms. And so now there are new regulations that are going to be put in place that are going to make it a little bit harder for you to be able to get the stuff that you want in order to be able to do home builds. Now, what they're doing is, well, Mike, you know what? Mike, you're the FFL. You're the person. You're the gun expert that we have here. You want to explain to folks a little bit about exactly what these new rules do?
All right, let's talk 80 percenters. Let's talk ghost guns real quick to get you there, folks. A ghost gun is a name only. We know it's an actual firearm. It's a firearm without a serial number. It's been 100% legal since the Constitution was signed in 1787, and it's you're allowed to have your own firearm, allowed to make your own firearm. Under law, if you're going to sell that firearm, it would have to have a serial number on it. That's just for identification purposes. But you're allowed to make and build your own. There's two different kinds out there. You have the aluminum receiver for an AR style rifle or pistol, and then you have the without trying to give up a trade name, the Glock style or the Glock pattern 80% receiver polymer 80s. They are perfectly legal for you to own and purchase, as long as it's perfectly legal for you to own a firearm. A completed one. Anybody can own an 80 because up until today, it wasn't a firearm. It's not completed. It does not go bang. And the universal accepted term and definition for a firearm is anything that can expel a projectile through the means of an explosive action. Okay? An 80% receiver does not do that. It's a part. A polymer 80 lower does not do that. It's a part. Then you are required to manufacture them, put them together, and you can make your own firearm. Again, 100% legal if it's for personal use. Well, they've decided, Craig, that they can't have that because it's untraceable, absolutely untraceable. Never mind how the purchase method was made, whether it was credit card, cash. Let's forget that because that's another tracing method as well. Let's forget that you could take fingerprints off of both of these items. Let's forget that the barrel and the ballistics in a barrel, the ballistic imprint that comes out of the barrel, 100% traceable. The firing pin imprint, 100% traceable. Let's forget all of that, Craig, and call them ghost guns and say they're untraceable. The federal government has decided that you cannot make or own your own firearm anymore without a serial number on it. Folks, only reason they want serial numbers on there is so they can put more firearms on the books, know where they are. So this leads to registration. This is the registration of your unserialized firearms. Dealers will now be required to do background checks on them. Why? Because they want the serial number of that firearm. If it was just about the background check, and that would make you safer and more secure because we're confirming that felons do not have guns, they wouldn't list the firearm information. But that's why they want to attach the firearms with serial numbers and attach them to your name. So when it's time for, red flags, that's confiscation. That's what's going on without due process. Or the next step, we're going to do an assault weapon ban. We're going to take magazines away that hold more than 10 rounds. It's so your name can be on the book somewhere with the firearm serial number, and you can be subject to confiscation.
Well, and the worst part about all of this thing is that what they're also requiring is for those who manufacture and sell them, now they've got to now be licensed as firearm manufacturers and firearms dealers. So now you've got additional licensing of people, and it is not an easy process. Number one, to maintain those licenses, to maintain all the data, information, all the stuff that you're supposed to maintain on these. And even yet and still, Mike, and this is what gets me. So if this is for 80% lowers, right? They've got to define what a quote unquote, what this part is that constitutes, at what point is it a firearm? Yeah. So if they make it a 79% lower instead of an 80% lower, does it still then fall under this particular rule? And does it also just include the ones that are sold in the kits? Or if you sell it with the kit, or if you sell it by itself and then just go buy the other parts yourself?
Yeah. All interesting rules. Like I said, it take the industry, about a week to figure out how to turn an 80% lower into a 75% lower, so it wouldn't be subject to this anymore. The problem with the AFT is the AFT wants you to submit these items to them ahead of time so they can approve it or deny it. There's no requirement in law for that. It's either a firearm or it's not. Firearms is defined as something that expels a projectile through means of explosive action. If it does not do that, it's not a firearm. And I don't need the ATF to tell me that, because I'm not a 2-year-old with the IQ of 14. All right. I understand what goes boom and what doesn't go boom. This is control, folks. This is tyranny. This is registration, which will lead to confiscation of your firearms.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what the point is. And that's why we just tell you, look, if they really were interested in making sure that criminals aren't getting access to firearms, like you said, they take your information, they'd look you up. Is this person prohibited? Nope. Okay. What do you want to buy? They don't need.
Yeah, the serial number should only be important to you, the dealer, and the manufacturer for warranty purposes.
Right.
That's the only reason why.
There you go. Boom, pow. Oh, by the way, he also announced his anti-gun nominee for the AFT, we all know that this guy is going to have a very hard time getting approved as well.
You'd think, but then again, you got people like Mitt Romney out there just passing anybody through because she seems like a good person, Greg, and I understand our policies are different, but she has her own convictions, and I stand by her for that.
Right. Well, when
Mitt Romney that said that, folks. Let's be clear, not me.
Right.
It wasn't me.
Keeping in mind, and I will say this, and I get that people have that perspective, but here's the thing: the problem is her judicial philosophy is very different. She believes that her job is to right wrongs, not to interpret legal matters based on the Constitution of the United States and precedent. She does not believe that. She says that. But I guarantee you that when she goes through and she starts making decisions, her decisions are going to be very much the same way the rest of the left do it, and that is my job is to right wrongs.
I'm curious, Craig, when she's on the bench up there, and she has legal arguments going on in front of her, do you think they'll refer to her as Justice Person rather than Madam Justice?
Well, I don't know, because I heard her proclaim that she once again it took X amount of years to have the first black woman on the Supreme Court. My question is, how do we know? How does she know that she's the first black woman? Because she doesn't know what a woman is. So does she qualify as a woman? If so, based on what standard? And number two, why didn't she use that standard when she was asked, can you define a woman?
Well, I think that's why now the opposing attorneys will have to refer to her as Justice Person. Rather than Madam Justice.
They. Yep. Not he or she, they.
No, they're still he or she. She's them. They.
She is the they? Meaning I don't know? Okay.
I don't know.
I'll just let that one go. All right, moving right along to disinformation. So in Chicago, there was a disinformation conference, right? Now, this was a conference where a bunch of folks kind of came together and they decided that they wanted to hold this conference there in Chicago, talking about disinformation. And what is hilarious, Mike, is that the participants actually had quite a hissy fit when it came to determining exactly what constituted disinformation. Now, obviously, and once again, obviously when you start off, what they mean by disinformation, right? They're talking about anything that conservatives believe. But
yes.
Now here, and by the way, there was only really one person there, and that was Jonah Goldberg, who was a conservative, who I question his conservatism now that he works for CNN, but I digress. But here's an example of what was brought up as an example by one of the students who were actually there. And the question that they had, and check out how this dude responds to it. Check it out.
My name is Christopher Phillips. I'm a first year at the college. My question is for Mr. Stelter. You've all spoken extensively about Fox News being a purveyor of disinformation, but CNN is right up there with the smeared mainstream and
the New York Times actually do work to that happily of the
all these example narratives,
and we've seen them.
That's the word. Again, my question is
decided because bad things to it. Who writes novels? Seen the media true? It's not true. It's
out there by the left. Information. There's when they talk CNN and Fox and what. Well, if you news can start with the watch on the Ukraine Russia.
Listen,
right.
If we were not in their pocket.
Once again, I'm not all up in making it to. and their whole goal, the truth.
It's in two stories. It's only fair to the nation, sir.
And then we can talk about the other two tomorrow. The president explains why.
Get something done.
Now, what? Maybe it's time. Maybe he's not in any position.
Plug in and
Okay. Just plug it in.
that's it.
Well, that's right. You it's actually working.
Of the don't.
I like digital. Yes, we know what you pump, and it's not gas. Folks here are wonderful today. Go to today. This is where you got to go. You got to
But program.